We're going to do a yoga class today, and it's going to be all standing. So it will definitely be leg strength. So it's a total standing class. You'll just need your mat, or at least the space about the size of a mat for you to kind of maneuver in. And I'm going to let the universe pick quote for the day. Okay, it's going to be this one. R, the initial R, brought. Life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology you never got. I like that one. Life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology you never got. I like that. Let it go. Don't hold on to it, to anger. I like that very much. All right. So I've got my mat. And we'll start standing because we're standing the whole time, right? All right. So we're going to start with just a breath exercise with, let's bring the feet together. Unless that feels unstable for you and you need to have the feet wider apart. So the toes are together, but I do have a little bit of space between my heels. My arms are going to be at my side, so the palms facing back behind me and energy reaching down through the arms, through the fingertips. And we'll just tuck that chin toward the chest. Now we're not dropping our head forward, so the back of your head's still over your rib cage. You've just tilted that chin down. And then as we inhale through the nose, we'll lift the arms up in front of us and up toward the ceiling and letting the arms lift and the eyes follow. So you start looking up as the arms reach up to the ceiling. And then exhaling through the mouth as you slowly lower the arms back down. And again, the eyes are going to follow the hands. So the chin will tuck back in and the arms are down at our sides. And then we'll inhale and we'll lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. You're rooted down through the feet evenly, left and right. Exhale, lower. As you're exhaling, pulling the belly in, helping to squeeze out all that old air. We'll just do 2 more times. We'll take our inhale. And exhale. The inhales and exhales should be equal in length. And 1 more time, inhale. And exhale. And we'll lift the chin back up. Now we're going to take the feet to be a little wider than the shoulders. If you were standing this away on your mat, about mat distance apart. The feet are parallel, so those toes are pointing straight ahead. We're not in a turnout. We're going to inhale, we're going to lift that right arm up toward the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to come into a side bend. Letting that left hand slide down the leg. Our belly's pulled in. Trying to have a soft touch of the hand on the legs. We're not really resting into it, but using more of our core to hold our position. Our belly's pulled in. Let's take another inhale. Reach those fingertips a little farther across the room, and then exhale. We'll come up and we'll lower that arm down. Inhale, lifting the left arm. As we exhale, we'll side bend. The hips will push a little to our left as we take our torso over to the right. Rooting down equally through both feet. Try to keep your inner arches lifted. Belly pulls in. So breathing into the top side of that rib cage. We're going to take another inhale. And then exhale. We'll come all the way up and lower that arm down. So from here, we're going to pick up our feet and pivot to the left. Okay. So it's our left foot that's forward and our right foot that's back. And we want to think of our feet being more on train tracks than walking a tightrope. You want your pelvis to be square, ooh, straight ahead. And so you might have to even go wider with the feet apart in order to get that left hip forward and the right hip forward and the left hip back. We're going to inhale, we're going to lift the arms up. The palms are touching, and then we're going to exhale. We're going to dive down. So keeping the biceps alongside the ears, and as you come down, don't let that left leg or the left hip come forward. Keep reaching it back, right? Seeing if you can bring your hands to the floor in front of your left foot, and if needed be, you can put a little bend in that left knee. Right? If you need more support, you can separate your hands. We're rounding the back up like a cat. So where your fingertips are on the mat, press into the mat to round the back up more. Right, now the legs are working here, inner thigh, outer hip, but also your center of gravity. Let's pull up on the pelvic floor. We'll take another breath. And then on an inhale, we're going to come all the way up. Your biceps are still by your ears, so you're bringing those arms up with you. And then we're going to pick up our toes, pivot on our heels. We'll face straight ahead. And then we'll pivot and take it the other side. Right? So we're going to square the pelvis. Right? So we do have the one leg that's reaching back, but that hip point should be level with the other. Our belly has pulled in. That back foot's out at about a 45-degree angle. Left foot, the front foot straight ahead. We'll take our inhale, lengthen up, and then exhale, rounding down through the spine. Pulling the belly in. Try to keep the pelvis still square. And the back leg, that side of the hip, is going to want to go back. Try to keep it coming forward. Pressing those fingertips down into the floor, round the back even more. Pull the belly button in towards your lower back. Again, bending the front knee if you need to. We certainly don't want to feel like you're hyperextending that knee. We'll take another inhale and then exhale. We'll slowly come back up again. And then once we're all the way up, we will pivot to face straight ahead. And we're going to walk our feet together, interlace the fingers, and release the index fingers. So squeeze those inner thighs together. As we inhale, think of lifting the spine up and out of the pelvis. We're going to side bend over to the right. Right. Belly pulls in. Let's squeeze the inner thighs together, squeezing the glutes. Try not to shove the shoulder blades too much up toward those ears. We'll take another inhale and exhale. Inhale, let's come all the way up. We're going to pause here. Find that rooted feeling down through those feet, the connection at the inner thighs, the lift of the pelvic floor. We'll take another inhale as we go over to the side. Going into that lateral flexion of the spine, we keep the belly pulled in. Heels of the palms, if you can, keep them together. They're going to want to separate usually, but try to keep them together. Right? The arms are back alongside the ears. They don't drift forward. And we're squeezing those inner thighs together. Reach a little bit more. We'll take another breath here. On your next inhale, we'll come all the way up. And we're going to go into a gentle back bend. So we're not trying to really change so much at our lower back. Think mid back and higher, that's where the extension is. Strong through the glutes. You do have to squeeze the glutes together and inner thighs toward each other. Belly pulls in. And as you inhale, think of lifting your heart up and over. right? Take those arms back with you. So try to keep those arms by your ears and the heels of the palms together. You look gently up. We'll take another breath here. And then inhale, we're going to come up. As we exhale, we're going to forward fold over the legs. Let the head release and hang. And then bending the knees so the chest can rest on the thighs. And we take our hands. Depending on you, you might need just to hold on to the kind of the back of your ankles at your Achilles tendon. If you can, you're actually tucking your fingers underneath your heels. Weight's going to be a little bit more forward into those toes. Spread the toes. Right, so I've got my hands basically cupping underneath my heels, and I bend my elbows to press my chest a little closer to my thighs, and I tuck my chin in to bring my forehead closer to my knees, to my shins. And then I straighten my legs a little bit, right? Or maybe a lot, depending on you, but keep your chest on your thighs. So don't straighten your legs completely if it means your chest leaves your thighs. We're still keeping the elbows bent and pulling our torso down even as we straighten the legs. We'll take another breath here. And then untuck the hands. Let them come in front of you. On an inhale, lifting up the spine about halfway, flattening the back. Exhale, come into that forward fold. Inhale, let's come all the way up to standing, circling those arms out and up. Reaching up. Exhale. Hands to heart. Now coming into a little balance. So we're going to shift our weight into our right leg. Now you can absolutely have a wall or something nearby for a little support, a little touch point if you need. And we're going to bend the left knee forward and then lift up, trying to get that knee to hip height. We're going to press the palm on top of the thigh. Yep. And then gently press the palm into the thigh and the thigh into the palm, a little isometric contraction. And lift up your rib cage up and away from your hips so the spine lengthens. We'll take another breath here. And then slowly lower the leg down. You can kind of walk in place for a moment. And then we'll shift the weight into the left leg, spin that right knee forward for a moment. Try to keep the hips relatively level so we're not hiking that side up. We'll lift the knee up. Place the palm on top of the thigh. Press the palm into the thigh presses into the palm. Just a gentle pressure. Belly's pulling in. Try to keep the shoulders level. So it's not so much pressure down that you're putting tension in your shoulders or in your neck. You're breathing. Let's take another breath here. And then we're going to come all the way down. Bringing those feet again side by side, a little space between the heels, but the toes are touching. Taking the feet wider if you need to for support. We're going to lift those arms back up, interlacing the fingers. Release the index finger. And one more little side bend. We're going to go to the right and up and to the left and up. And then we'll separate the hands, keep the arms lifted, but now the arms are about shoulder width distance apart. And sitting back and down into our imaginary chair. And we do have a little bit of space between the heels. Keep a little space between the knees. You're not just kind of collapsing the knees together. We'll sit the hips back and down. Make sure you're not hyperextending your back. Right, so we don't want to overly arch that lower back. Just let that natural curve happen. We're not necessarily trying to tuck under and flatten either. Just let that natural curve happen. And your hips are back and your weight more into your heels. You could lift your toes up off of the floor. And we'll sit back and down just a little bit more. We'll take another inhale and then exhale. Let's come back up. Let's lower the arms down parallel to the floor. And we'll take our feet now about hip distance apart. Now in our first chair, our torso leaned forward a little as we sat back and down. With this chair, I want us to keep our head, shoulders, and hips in the same alignment like you're against a wall. And we'll challenge our balance. First, we're seeing if we can lift the heels off. So it's not a super high heel, Jimmy Choo, stiletto, Barbie foot lift. Just go up. Right? And then we're gonna start to bend the knees, keeping the heels lifted in the same spot and sliding our back down that imaginary wall, and the arms are facing forward. We don't allow our ankles to sickle out. Right? Keep that big toe plugged down. Arms are strong, they're reaching forward, but they're still plugged into the shoulder joint. You feel that connection of arms to back. Squeezing the glutes, so it's more than just your quadriceps. This isn't just the tops of your thighs. Try to get into the glutes and into those hamstrings. We'll take another breath here. And then inhale, we'll come up. And exhale. Arms will come down. We're gonna separate the feet. So really wide stance. And we're gonna pick up these left toes, pivot on the heel. Those toes are pointing to that edge of the mat. The back foot, our right foot comes in gently at a slight angle in. And we're gonna bend the right knee, or the left knee, excuse me. We'll bend that left knee. And we'll rest our forearm on the knee, on that thigh, and trying to find a nice long diagonal. So we're not popping that hip up, right, but pull it down. And then the top arm's gonna come up alongside your ear. And then if it's okay on your neck, turning and looking up to our extended side angle. Now, all of our weight, certainly more is forward, but still press down, trying to press down equally in that back leg. Keep that arch gently lifted. We're going to take another breath. And then on that inhale, let's come back up. We're straightening the left leg. We're going to pivot. Toes point straight ahead, taking it to the other side. As a general rule, that front heel is going to bisect into the arch or heel of the back foot, but move to see what feels right for you. Right, we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to rest the forearm on. Now, I'm not sinking down into that shoulder though, right? So lifting up and out, find that long diagonal line. We'll bring the arm up alongside the ear. So finding that sense of diagonal from those fingertips down to the ankle, and then looking up if that's okay on your neck. So belly is pulled in. Imagine you're trying to draw your feet energetically closer together so you feel those inner thighs kicking in. Finding your breath, not sinking down into that stabilizing shoulder. We'll take one more breath here. And then we'll inhale, we'll come up. Exhale, arms down, we're straightening the leg. And then all 10 toes point straight ahead. We're gonna reach the arms out like airplane wings. Belly pulls in. We're not gonna round through the back. Keep your back flat as you hinge forward from your hips. Right, bring your hands down to hold on to the outside of the legs, depending on you. You might be at your ankles, you might be higher up, but try to keep the back flat. And gently bend the elbows to draw yourself just a little closer down. Now, keeping your weight a little more forward in your toes, and just notice where you feel the stretch. And then shift the weight more back into the heels and see where that changes for you, if it changes for you. So trying to lift those inner arches up just a little bit on the feet. And then leveling yourself so you're not more in the toes or more in the heels. Bringing your hands to the mat, or if that range of motion isn't there for you, block, or even just keeping your hands on your legs for some support. We'll take another breath in this forward fold. And then with that same flat back, let's inhale and come up. Take those arms out like those airplane wings. Return all the way up. Exhale, arms are going to come down. We're just going to toe heel back together. This time, let's just have our feet parallel and about hip distance apart. We're going to do a forward roll down. With this roll down, we will be rounding down through our spine. Arms come down to our sides, palms face forward. As we inhale, we're going to circle the arms out and up. Looking up, if that's okay, on your neck, and then exhale, chin toward the chest. We're rolling down through the spine. Try not to send your hips back behind you, but keep them over your heels as you round down. Let your head release and hang. Right. And from here, we're just going to do some gentle little side bends. You can bend your knees a little bit and walk your hands over to the outside of one foot, getting that stretch, that side bend, and then over to the other side. And then to center again. Let the spine get a little bit longer. Let the head hang loosely. So let gravity put your spine in traction. Put a little extra softness, a little extra bend in the knees. We'll take an inhale. Exhale, let's start to come up. Pulling the belly in. Pelvis comes up right. We're restacking the spine a vertebra at a time. Head's the last thing to come up. And we'll take one more big inhale up. And exhale. Arms down, hands to the heart, thumbs against the heart. Closing the eyes. Soften the body a little. Breathing out the last bit of tension. Staying here for another minute, or maybe even coming down onto your mat for Shavasana if you would like. Namaste.